Hello Math 8 students, this is Miss DeWitt. Today we're going to be taking some math notes in your toolkit on page 51, talking about slope of a line. So go ahead and highlight these important notes here. The slope of a line is the ratio of change in y to the change in x between any 2 points on the line. You pick any 2 points, you're always going to have the same slope. Slope is the unit rate of change because it measures how much y increases or decreases as the x value changes by 1 unit. If the slope is positive, the y values are increasing, and if the slope is negative, the y values are decreasing. The graph of a line goes up from positive slopes and down from negative slopes as you read the line from left to right. We always read graphs from left to right. Very important. You should get in the habit of reading a graph or a line like you read a sentence from left to right. The slope itself is the vertical change over the horizontal change. And in our notes for today, yesterday, we talked about how we write that as a triangle, and that represents delta, or the change in y over the change in x. We also refer to it as the rise over the run. An elevator rises up and down, and you run from left to right. So I'm going to say that again. You read a line from left to right. Very important. If it is increasing, it is a positive slope, and if it is decreasing, it is a negative slope. If we look at the examples here given of the time in hours and how much money is earned, line A is positive. I can look at it and tell that it is going up from left to right. And when I look specifically at the vertical change, or how the line changes from left to right, and I pick 2 points, we call those lattice points that go through the corner. If we choose how that vertical change is, it is going up by 5. And that is written over here on the top of my ratio. Then from left to right, it is going to the right by 2. And that's my horizontal change. That is written on the bottom of my ratio. And I leave that ratio as 5/2. We don't turn it into a mixed number. 5/2 is an important fraction, and it gives us important information. If I'm looking at line B, I can look at this line and tell you right away that that line is negative because it is decreasing from left to right. And from point to point, the vertical change is a -2. It is going down 2. So I need to make sure that that is a -2. But it is still going to the right, and it is going to the right 3. So we write that as -2/3. That is briefly discussed here and here in reference to line A and line B. Let's draw one more example over here in our right-hand column. Go ahead and put quadrant 1. This is our y-axis. That's a terrible line, but it'll be okay for right now for our purposes that we're using. And let's draw this line. Let's say this line goes through 1, and then it goes here, and I connect those, and my line looks like this. So right away, I'm hoping that you notice that this is a positive slope because it is increasing from left to right. And then you're going to pick 2 points. Well, nice thing that they did is they gave us 2 points here. So I'm going to be looking for my rise over my run. So from this point, I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3. So my rise is +3. And I'm going to count to the right 1, 2. So since I'm going to the right, that is +2. So my slope is going to be +3 over +2. And we would leave it as +3 over +2. We would not change it into a decimal or a mixed number. So we've looked at positive slopes, we've looked at negative slopes. Let me show you two other types of slopes. These two slopes reference a slope of 0. Zero slopes are always when you have a horizontal line. So all horizontal lines have a slope of 0. And this particular equation is y equals 3. Because if you had a slope of 0, 0 times x, no matter what x would be, would always be 0. And 0 plus 3 is 3. So you have y equals 3 because your slope is 0. Horizontal lines always have a slope of 0. Vertical lines, a little bit different. Vertical lines always have a slope called undefined. And it is undefined because the horizontal change is 0, resulting in a slope of y over 0. Anytime you divide by 0, it is always going to be undefined. So all vertical lines, a little random thing there, all vertical lines have a slope of, and you actually write out the word undefined. And when we write an equation for this line, it's always whatever the x value is where it crosses the x-axis. So in this case, it's x equals 2. There's no y equals mx plus b. It is just x equals 2 because your slope has a horizontal change of 0, resulting in a fraction where 0 is in the denominator, and anything divided by 0 is undefined. So in this case, our slope is undefined, and in this case, our slope is 0. All right, Math 8 students, have a